Hi guys, it's April and I garden down in southeast Nebraska, zone 6A. Still working on getting that new introduction correct. I might actually drop the zone since ultimately doesn't matter for most of the annuals I do. I just find it interesting to know what zones people are. I don't know, I'm babbling. Anyways, the point of this video is last year I did a video of all the seeds that I had purchased for 2023, and this is my seed purchase for 2024. I do still have a large backstock in my seed collection of a lot of things. So this isn't by far all of the things I have that I'm going to be growing next year, but these are the things that I have been purchasing that are either new or I needed to restock for 2024. I do purchase from a couple of different places. This year, it was primarily Baker Creek, Eden Brothers, Johnny's Seeds, Seed Saver Exchange, and then an Etsy shop that I found. So I think that covers all of the places that all of these seeds are coming from. I do have one more order that is on the way, but I wanted to do this anyways because honestly, I'm kind of ready to put them where they're supposed to be in my seed catalog, but I also am kind of excited to see what everybody else is planning for 2024, so I wanted to get my list out there. So I am going to take you over to the table and show you what I've got. So I have my seeds broken up into two different categories. I have my food section of all of the edible plants that I'm going to be growing, and then I also have my flower box of all the things that I grow because they're pretty, they make me happy, and the pollinators just love them. I think I'm gonna start with all of the food stuff first, and then I'll get into the pretty things. The easiest place to start with is my beans. I want to do a heavy focus in my garden for beans this year because I haven't really in the past, and beans are one of those plants that if you want to get a good backstock of things to eat for your family, for meals, to preserve and all of that, you kind of need a lot of plants. I mean, depending on the size of your family, you may need more than others, but one or two plants isn't going to do it for beans unless you only want to snack on them. So I thought this year I would dedicate a good chunk of my garden to beans so that I can start thinking about preserving beans because I've never done that before because I just have never had enough. So I bought some more of the garbanzo beans. I got them for the first time last year. I didn't have complete success growing them. I need to start them sooner and I need to start more. So I'm hoping with what I still have in my stash, plus this pack right here, I might get a good head start on garbanzo beans because I just like garbanzo beans. I like making tacos out of them. I like throwing them into all kinds of salad dishes. They're just so versatile. Then I have both the black coat and the black knight runner beans. These are pretty similar. I just like the fact that they come out these really cool colors. So I wanted more of them and I'm hoping to get a good harvest out of them this year. This is one that I haven't tried before. This is the Hidasha Red Indian. It looked like it could be a good strong plant for my garden. It says that it's North Dakota hardy, which, given the fact that I am in Nebraska, I will take. I also have the Scarlet Runner Bean, which is pretty close to the black coat and the black knight. I just wanted to throw it in there for variety. Then we have my onion seeds. I usually buy my onion seeds each year because I use all of my onion seeds up. I have found that I have a pretty solid idea of what kind of onions I like to get each year. And that is the candy onion. the Walla Walla onion and the Cabernet onion. So they're 2 sweet yellow white onions and then a red onion. I do also have 2 packs of bunching onion on the way. One of them is a white bunching onion. I think it's new this year. It's the Nabichin bunching onion from Johnny's. And then also I'm going back to the deep purple bunching onion because I like to have a variety of color. Color just makes me happy. So those are on the way. I will definitely let you know when those arrive. But then we can move on. This is the last of my little food that does not pertain to tomatoes. Tomatoes are its own category. So these are all jumbled together because I just have 1 or so packs of each of these different types. So adding to my pepper collection, I have the brown jalapeno. I have already an orange, a yellow, of course a red. So I figured I would add a brown because I do love a good brown pepper. There is a sweetness and almost a smokiness to it that I enjoy. There's a richness to the flavor. So I wanted to try this brown jalapeno. And this is the only new pepper that I'm adding to my stash this year. And then the jelly melons. I have no idea what prompted me to pick up these. I am not a big melon person. I'm not a big cucumber person. It's just not where my flavor palette lies. But something about these just called to me this year. So I'm going to try these out. I'm going to see what they're like. And then we'll find out if I continue to grow them after this year. They just seemed interesting. So I like to add something to my garden each year that is just different and new and exciting. And that is what these are this year. I also picked up stevia seeds from Eden Brothers. This is the Sweetie Star. First of all, I like the name, but I've also been contemplating growing stevia because I have some weird relationships with a lot of the artificial sweeteners. So I'm always looking for an alternative that isn't pure sugar to add as a sweetener. I do love maple syrup. I do love honey. But sometimes you want something that isn't necessarily those, but you don't want to put a cup of sugar in something. So I wanted to see how this went with the stevia. We'll see if I can actually get it to grow. I then have the Pink Beauty Amaranth. Never grown amaranth before, but I thought it would be something fun to try. And then finally, I have a new carrot variety. This is the Lila Lusang. I can't remember which variety I ran out of this past year, but I couldn't find it on the website anymore. So I started looking into some other varieties to supplement, and I do love a good purple carrot. So I thought this might be a good replacement. So that means we now have all of the tomatoes. I don't need more tomatoes, but I have a hard time saying no to new tomatoes. I told myself that I was going to grow less tomatoes this year, and then I purchased a bunch of tomatoes. So it might be that I only grow new tomato types and don't go back to some of the old ones this year, but we'll see if I can hold myself to that. So I found this cute little Etsy shop called Woodland Creations. And the reason I ended up stumbling upon this Etsy shop is because there is a tomato called the Rebel Starfighter Prime tomato. I don't know if you know this about me, and you most likely don't, but here it is. I am a big Star Wars fan. And so when I found out there was a line of tomatoes that had Star Wars themed names, I had to try it. And this is the one that I found. I believe there's a couple other varieties, but this is the only one I picked up. But while I was on that site, I also found this fuzzy blue ball tomato, which just made me laugh hysterically. And I'm interested in some of the other fuzzy tomato types. I have in the past grown the Oran Peach from Baker Creek that has that fuzzy skin. So I started looking into some more of those tomatoes, which also explains why I have this fuzzy wuzzy dwarf tomato. So those will be some fun new varieties to try this coming year. And then from Johnny's, I have this green bee. I know a lot of people have heard of all the Bumblebee line of cherry tomatoes. I am fascinated by those. I absolutely love them. So whenever I see a variety that stems from the bumblebee or has the same kind of properties as the bumblebee, I usually pick it up so that I can try it. So that is where this one came from. I also picked up this Harvest Moon. It's new from Johnny. I believe it's a gorgeous yellow tomato with some red interwoven in the middle. From Seed Savers, back to the fact that I have just been fascinated with fuzzy tomatoes. The Peach Blow Sutton. This is another one of those tomatoes that has a little bit of that peach fuzz on the skin. And then Baker Creek. Baker Creek got me with their catalog and their line of new stuff that they have coming out. So here we have the California Tulip, which just looks so fun and so weird. Prairie Fire I have actually been looking at for a better part of this year, so I just decided I'll pick it up, and even if I don't grow it this year, I'll have the seeds for it for maybe next year. The Apricot Zebra, which is a little bit like the Prairie Fire, but more like the Tiger Roma varieties that Baker Creek sells. Everyone keeps talking about these green olives. I cannot tell you the number of videos that I have heard people mentioning that they're growing these or have grown these or want to grow these. So I just picked some up and now I'm gonna give them a try. I got to try the Brad's Atomic for the first time this year and absolutely fell in love with them. So I'm hoping these are very similar to that, just more of a round style. But we'll see where that goes. The Isis Candy Cherry. Okay, I'll be honest, I'm not sure what kind of relationship I'm going to have with this tomato because it looks like it's going to be one of those smaller, very aggressive tomatoes. But the fact that it had candy in the name and it is saying that it's going to be a very sweet tomato, I had to give it a try. I am hoping that I do like this, but I have struggled with some of the smaller tomatoes simply because they're just so aggressive. Then we have Alice's Dream. Last year I went on a striped tomato kick. I absolutely love striped tomatoes. I like the way they look. I like the way they taste. And then I saw this one come up, so I am adding it to my stash. And then we have the Woolly Kate. So this is the one that I've been on the hunt for about a year now because, like I said, I was looking for some of those fuzzy tomatoes. And I heard that these are a small fuzzy tomato. And interestingly, I couldn't find it in some of my usual places. It did come up on Etsy, but I didn't want to just do a small order because shipping and all that kind of stuff. But when Baker Creek ended up having it on their website, I was excited. And now I have a Woolly Kate. And then lastly, I believe it was probably 2022 when Baker Creek started talking about this brown sugar tomato. And I had it pinned on my Instagram account for all this time. So when this newest catalog came out and all the new varieties came up and this showed up on the list, I was like, heck yes. Put it on my list. Put it in my cart. Take my money. I want it. And so I got it. This is one of those ones that, once again, it says it's got a rich flavor. And the fact that it's talking about brown sugar, I figure it's got some sweet notes in it. So we'll see how this one does. I don't go for red tomatoes, but I made an exception for this one because just look at it, right? So after all of that, I do have 3 more packs of seeds that are on the way. All of them are in a Johnny seed order. I have the fairy tale eggplant. I did grow the fairy tale eggplant this year, I bought it as a start from the farmer's market. I liked it so much that I bought my own seeds, and I am going to start it myself this year, hopefully, fingers crossed. But it's just such a nice sized eggplant that I just found so many good uses for it and wasn't overwhelmed by it. And then I got 2 more tomato packets that are on the way. The first one is a Gin Fizz, which is a red and yellow tomato that looks phenomenal. And then Hot Streak, which is another one of those stripy tomatoes, which also is yellow and red. I just really like those yellow and red tomatoes. I find that each year my taste shifts to a certain kind of tomato, and then I overwhelm myself with that kind, and then I move to another kind, and then sometimes I just cycle back. But those are all of the food garden seeds that I have purchased for 2024. So let's get into the flowers. Okay, let's start with the zinnias. I have a zinnia patch that I like to set up in the back corner of my garden just because they're gorgeous and I love them. I may have gone a little overboard this year. I am hoping to do a garden rework these next couple of months so that I might end up with some more growing space than I have had in the past, which is why I may have overbought some of the more decorative plants than I have in the past. But you know what? I like them anyways. Oh, Park Seed is another company that I like to purchase flower seeds from because they have some of my dwarf varieties. So I did forget to mention that. This is the Double Zahir Salmon, the Cinderella Purple, Cinderella Peach, Cinderella Lilac. Can you tell that I like the Cinderella line? Because I do. This is the Elegance Pinka. Let's go with Pinka. Then this is the reason I mostly purchased from Park Seeds. They have this Dreamland Pink hybrid that is a very short and bushy one that I absolutely love. This is the Profusion Double Deep Salmon, Magellan Pink, Queen Red Lime, Double Raspberry Ripple, and then a second packet of the Dreamland Pink. Then from Eden Brothers, I've got the Little Put Rose. Got 2 of the Cupcake Pink mix because I absolutely love these zinnias. Got the Little Put Salmon, which was that? No, that was a Little Put Rose. Okay. Zahir Double Raspberry Ripple. You will see a few varieties that I've gotten from multiple different sellers. I like to do that sometimes because each year the crop does better or worse in certain areas. So I find it okay to double up, especially when I end up using all of these seeds anyways because I just scatter them. And then I've got the Little Put Purple, the Luminosa, Binary Giant Coral, Camilla Salmon, Queen Lime Red, and then we move on to Botanical Interest with the Senora and Mazarica, which I think I also got from Baker Creek. So these are the same. And then I have the Pink Senorita, which I have never grown this style of zinnia before. So we'll see how this goes. And then once again, the Queen Lime Red. Now, absolutely all of these are sunflowers. I am hoping to expand my sunflower patch this year. So yes, I did go a little crazy. Am I sorry about it? Not really. don't know if there's a best way to do this because it's just gonna fall over. It's just gonna be a thing. So this is the Double Sun King, the Pro Cut White Knight, the Pro Cut Red, the Pro Cut White Light, the Giant Teddy Bear, which teddy bears are my favorite kind of sunflower, so you'll probably see a lot of them in this list. This is the Midnight Rouge and the Pro Cut Plum. Okay. And then we've got 2 Golden Bear, 2 Sun Gold, which are dwarf varieties of sunflowers. And then, of course, the 2 of the Tall Teddy Bear, 2 of the Dwarf Teddy Bear, and then a Autumn Beauty, a Mardi Gras Blend, which is a dwarf variety again, the Goldie Pro Cut White Knight, and then I have this Lemonade variety, which is a branching sunflower, Teddy Bear, which once again, dwarf sunflower, along with the Gummy Bear, which is also a dwarf. Then we have the Goldie Honey Bear, the Teddy Bear. I have a lot of teddy bears this year. Chocolate, Rouge Royale, Vanilla Ice, Gold Coin, Tall Orange Sun, which this was an accidental double purchase, but you know, I'll take it. Chocolate Cherry, which I keep trying to grow and I keep struggling with it, but I'm just gonna keep on keeping on. Someday I might actually get a good stock of it. Double Sun King, Teddy Bear, and then a Drop Dead Red, because I thought it looked cool. So the varieties I have here for sunflowers are mostly the teddy bears, some reds, and some whites. I don't have any of the standard looking sunflowers, but that's okay. And then lastly, I have a more wild flower style prairie type section of my garden next to the power boxes that I like to hide. In this past season, it was overrun with milkweed, which I'm not mad about, but it did choke out some of the other things that I had planted there. So I'm gonna try and replenish those, which is why I have this quinoa, because it looks gorgeous when it's in bloom, along with this buckwheat. We've got 2 different types of buckwheat. We've got this rose red soba and this Takane Ruby. And I do have a large variety of calendula, but I don't think you can have too many calendula. And I saw this Snow Princess, and I don't have a variety of calendula that looks like this, so I decided I needed to pick it up. And then I do save my poppy seeds each year, and I do replant them. So at this point, they've cross-pollinated and they become whatever they want to become, and I'm not mad about that. I actually kind of love that, and I do save a good chunk of those. But I wanted to add this variety into that mutt mix that I have going on. So we'll see how my poppies end up turning out this year. So those are all the seeds that I have waiting for next year, waiting for the 2024 garden. I would love to hear if you have grown any of these before and what your experience was with them. I would also love to hear what you are going to be growing for the first time next year. And if there was anything in this list that you now want to pick up yourself because you saw them and they look phenomenal, let me know down below. And of course, if you do want to see more videos like this, or you want to follow me on my journey in the 2024 garden, subscribe down below, hit the bell, do all the things to get all of the notifications. I do hope I will see you again in another video, and I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.